He's the myth. He's the legend. He's the scientist with all the answers and all the questions. It's time for another episode of Alex's Science Corner.
Thank you. No, please. Oh, thank you. No, enough, Bobby.
What's going on in the wide, wide world of science, my friend?
All right, first up is researchers have discovered a massive crater underneath the Greenland ice sheet.
Ooh.
This crater is as large as Paris, so it's a big crater. But nobody's seen it because it's been covered under the Greenland ice sheet. So how did they discover it? Well, these geologists have been running this special ice radar, flying this ice radar over Greenland because they want to check the different layers of ice and check the topology of the ground underneath it. And they found this massive bowl crater.
Would that be a volcano, like a volcanic?
It could be a volcano, and that's one of the things. Also, there's a possibility sometimes some of these things can form naturally. So then, and they first discovered this about 3 years ago. So then the next step was to figure out what was the crater. Was it just a natural form shape, which is extraordinarily rare to have a circular crater like this form, not by a volcano or by asteroid impact.
I got a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish the second possibility.
Second possibility is that it was a volcanic eruption, and the third possibility that it was an asteroid impact. So then the next step after that was to try and figure out which of them it was.
Now, did they discover this because of ice melt or because of the technique that they were using?
They were using the technique they were using. They were flying the...
So there's still ice and snow above
yes,
it? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This crater is completely covered by ice.
Okay.
So what they did is then there is meltwater coming from there, and so they go to the place where the meltwater is coming out and started studying the different types of material that was coming out of the meltwater, because whatever rock, and they discovered there were shock crystals, and shock quartz.
What is it?
Shock quartz is a special type of quartz that will be created if certain types of rock are subjected to intense stress but not a lot of heat. And so what would happen is from an asteroid impact, you can get shock quartz. You're not going to get the shock quartz from a volcanic impact, from volcanoes, because that has a lot of heat but not a lot of shock effect. Whereas the shock quartz is made from the shock wave of a blast, but you're not going to get the massive amount of heat that you will get with a volcano. Okay. So the next step for them was to figure out how old this crater is. And based on the ice that's on top of it, they know it's got to be older than 12,000 or 13,000 years old. So it's got to be older than that. But it's going to be younger than 2.5 million years old. So that's still a wide range. They're still working on it. They suspect they've got a time range when it may actually be closer to they think it's closer to 14,000 years. They're not really sure about that yet, but again, what happened was the crater happened and then the ice covered it. They just don't know how long it happened between the two events. One of the challenges of that also is glaciers are an immensely erosive thing. Glaciers go in and they will clear out a spot. And the fact that you still have this crater with all these glaciers around it is a sign of A, how big this crater is, and C, that that may be younger, on the younger side of that range. Because if you go to Central Park in New York City, you'll see stones that were dragged down from Canada in New York City.
Well, didn't they say the Appalachians were created by...
yeah, I mean, again, glaciers are incredibly erosive. So the fact that you still have this crater means that, or they're suspecting it means that this crater is probably on the younger side of that range.
Okay.
So again, massive new crater that was discovered. the fact that how they found is really great technology, and it's a lot of stuff that they're going to hopefully find out again, but they couldn't find it until they had this ice penetrating radar. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So second story is, like I was mentioning before, researchers are directly measuring effects of playing football on teenagers' brains. And what they did is they took a whole bunch of high school football players before the start of the season, took MRI scans of their brains, and then after the season was over, they did MRI scans again. And the ones that they were studying were the ones that did not have any symptoms of concussions. But what they found was that there are enough small impacts over that time that they could see negative changes to the brains of teenagers who play football. Because of even those light impacts that are not enough to cause a concussion, they are enough over the semester to cause enough damage that you can see the beginnings of brain damage starting to set in. So it is one of those, they've known that this is kind of stuff that can happen, but now you're seeing it at a person that has a younger age, and children, teenagers, up into your mid-20s, your brain is still developing, and if your brain gets damaged during their developmental stage, you're going to start getting dementia and other mental effects when you're at a much younger age. Right. So instead of getting these effects like at 60 or 70, you start going to get them at 50 or even 40.
Yeah, I think less kids are now actually playing high school football than there used to be.
Yeah, and again, unfortunately, this is one of those things. It's and the NFL has been fighting this kind of research because it's.
I wonder why.
Well, I mean, you know what? We can end our football picks.
All right. Anything?
So, yeah, unfortunately, like I said, it's the effect of this is, like I said, it's small impacts constantly over an extended period of time. Not enough to cause a concussion, but it still causes brain damage. Yeah, it's minor, but it's going to accumulate and just starts the effects earlier in life than it would have been otherwise.
All right. Any final comments? Or we'll throw it out to the audience here. If you have any questions about these science stories or anything else science related, you can call Alex right now at 203-837-9924.